Hello and welcome to the Q Today Show for June 19th to June 22nd. I'm Mitch Vick, one of your hosts.
And I'm your other host for the program, Doreen LaMarche. Before we get into the news, we would just like to thank you for watching and remind you our weekday show runs from Tuesday at 5 p.m. to Friday 8 a.m. and the weekend offering airs from Friday at 5 p.m. to Tuesday at 8 p.m. or 8 a.m. Pardon me. We broadcast daily 8 a.m., 5 p.m. and 10 p.m.
If you have any comments or questions on the program, you can reach us by email at qtoday@qcatv.ca. If you'd like some information on the program or you'd like to sponsor us, you can give Nate a call at 250-992-3650. And as always, thank you to the Quesnel Caribou Observer for providing some of our stories.
Remember, we just give the highlights here on Q Today. If you want to read the full story, pick up your copy of the Observer, Quesnel Caribou Observer. And now over to you, Mitch, with some news.
Thank you, Doreen. And first up today, Eric Wickham, who, as we know, recently resigned as chair of the Multi-Center Fundraising Committee. He says that if things don't change, the community is going to lose out. Wickham's recent resignation apparently came about after a lengthy period of frustration in dealing with elected officials and the Quesnel Community Economic Development Corporation. In his words, the QCEDC has promised over and over again their assistance with this matter, but no assistance, guidance, or any support whatsoever was forthcoming. Pretty harsh words. He also has harsh comments for elected officials and paid staff who he says did not return emails, phone calls, and didn't complete tasks. He said he found the behavior disrespectful to the volunteers on the committee. In defense of the committee, Bernice Heinzelman said that they are following the fundraising plan. Things are going as they should, and in fact they have events planned coming into September, such as the golf ball drop. Hopefully Bernice can get things moving along, and on the show here we've reported on several what I thought were pretty good ideas put forth by the committee, such as the sale of seats in the multi-center. And another good idea I thought they had was they were going to get service clubs involved with their fundraising activity, and the service clubs could benefit from a share of some of the fundraising. Yes,
our roller derby team was actually approached to participate. It's still waiting to make its way to a meeting, but it sounded like a pretty solid way to involve the community and get the community invested in something that will essentially be beneficial to everyone.
Yeah.
And I heard that the seat sale actually in its beginning was really successful.
Yeah.
Like it started out with quite a bit of a sprint, so hopefully that continues.
Well, certainly the buzz that we're hearing on Q Today is that things are moving along, so it's surprising to hear Eric's comments, and definitely, I guess, hoping moving forward that the committee can come together a little better and get things moving with elected officials and the QCEDC. So we'll have to see how things go in the future, and hopefully they can get back on track here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Fixed Auto is looking for a deserving recipient of a vehicle, an advocate for helping those less fortunate, especially single moms. When a red 2009 Chevy Aveo made its way onto their lot with a manual transmission, Graham Brent and his wife decided it was the perfect giveaway. The car will be given away over Billy Barker Days. The criteria for nominations is pretty open. If you know someone deserving of this reconditioned car, be it a family that's down on its luck and is in need of a vehicle, or a single parent, etc., it is pretty open. Look in the Observer for a ballot and make your nomination and drop it off to Fix Auto. Fix Auto will be looking to the Amad House as well for nominations, being that they're a connection to our community for people that are having a bit of a hard time, and they're looking forward to receiving your nominations. They're very kind and generous and community-minded, and certainly set a good example for the local businesses as well as the individual to reach out to those who are having a difficult time and struggling, and giving them a hand up when they need it. So I think that that's an excellent story, and a bit of that wonderful good news that I think news lacks sometimes.
Yeah. It's all down in the dumps.
That's right.
Depressing.
That's right.
Well, that's very generous, and that's a great story. Our next story comes to us regarding Barkerville. The Caribou Regional District and the Fraser Fort George Regional District have come together and are providing a $10,000 grant towards the construction of a replicate Williams Creek Schoolhouse in Barkerville. And just as a point of interest, the original schoolhouse was destroyed by fire decades ago, and they did build a replacement, but apparently it's a lot smaller and isn't really a reflection of the original schoolhouse. And over 2,000 students a year visit Barkerville from across British Columbia as part of field trips and educational trips. And they do use the sort of the temporary schoolhouse. So the Barkerville Society, Barkerville, is very excited to get this funding, as it will help construct this larger school, and it will be more reflective of the original schoolhouse that burnt down years ago. And they hope it will enhance the experience for students for years to come. So looking forward to seeing that schoolhouse built up and ready to go.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And over to you.
Thank you. Well, on to a bit of fighting news now from the good news I just was sharing. Battling the enemy, invasive weed eradication is everyone's fight. Scouring the hillsides and watercourses of Quesnel, the CRD crews are diligently searching for 2 major invasive weeds. These weeds can be found in your backyards and in your ditches, and one of them in particular, the Himalayan balsam, can be found in fields of it, I should say. Once cultivated, it was once cultivated and shared as a regular plant. It can be found choking out native plants whose root systems stabilize the soil. They choke them out, and it causes erosion in areas because it does not replace the root system that it eradicated. It unfortunately has no root system, so it just sits on the top. The Japanese knotweed is known to penetrate thick asphalt and bust concrete, so certainly a concern. Informed public is the frontline force in the war against invasive weeds, says Tregulus, CRD invasive plant spray assistant in Aberest. For information on these 2 plants and efforts that the public can take to assist, contact Emily Sontag at 250-392-3351, extension 266, and she can also direct you to several other places to get information that you need to recognize the weeds and ideas on how you can help to eradicate them, and stop looking at them like they are pretty flowers, because I certainly know that that's what I do.
So they can crack concrete and
yeah,
pavement?
The Japanese knotweed is known to penetrate asphalt and bust concrete.
Holy smokes.
And so it's certainly causing problems in that regard.
I think we have enough challenges with our roads with winter heaves and whatnot. Let's not add to the problem with, destructive plants like that.
Well, and the Himalayan balsam, being that it chokes out our native plants, but then doesn't replace a root system, is just causing hillsides and waterways to completely erode. There's nothing holding the banks
slides,
up.
I imagine, too, yeah.
Absolutely. So a lot of things that we can do to educate ourselves. So hopefully the public will get involved and
do something about it.
Yeah,
excellent.
Do something about those weeds.
All right, so we're going to move into sports. And we did report last Q Today show, Allison had the opportunity to go see a game from the Crossfire.
Yes.
And it was an exciting game. She actually gave a bit of a play-by-play. And I'm gonna flesh that out a little bit more.
All right.
The Crossfire beat the Devils 10-9, as we reported.
Close
and
game.
As Allison said, it went back and forth. There was a brawl. There was lots of penalties. Tempers flared. 19 seconds remaining in the game. It was tied 9-9. And Cameron Braun got that last goal. Celebrations ensued. We've won 2 games in a row. It's a streak. We're in playoff position now. There are 3 games remaining in the season. I'm really encouraging residents to get out to these games. Now, by the time this broadcast, you'll see this broadcast, they will have played a game against the Stylers on Thursday, but there's a doubleheader coming up on the weekend against the Lumberjacks, and this is where it's make or break time. And so Saturday, come check them out at 8 p.m., and then the follow-up to the doubleheader will be coming at 11 a.m. At Twin Arenas on Sunday. So please get out, support these guys. It's coming together. They're fighting their way through, and there's a chance we may see some playoff action from the Crossfire. So
fantastic.
Here's hoping, and we're rooting for you on Q today.
Good competitive sports, good for the heart, good for the soul,
yeah.
Good for the community.
Allison was saying it was, and I could just feel her excitement as she was telling us the story. And it's sort of like hockey, but a little bit rougher, and no ice skates, but whipping the ball around. And you know what, I'm going to check out a game. And it's just exciting that this team, we've reported many times on this team, and they've had some struggles. And they didn't win a game for a long time. But it's coming together, and it's great to see the hard work and dedication coming through.
Excellent, excellent. All right, well, it's a sport of discipline, respect, and self-control. Yoshimi Matsuzaki, that one's a tough one, is happy to talk about her sport at length, discussing the finer points of kendo and expounding on the mental conditioning required. Kendo is Japanese fencing. It's not a popular sport in these parts, but after Matsuzaki posted pictures of her gear on Facebook, it generated some interest locally. And last Friday, she gave a small presentation for a member of the Shirawi Twinning Society, who's been a long-time fan of kendo. She's happy that somebody else is interested in it, though she can't spar with anybody here. She's grateful for the opportunity to give examples and show the intensity of the sport. Kendo is a sport of discipline, and as such, one can simply not step into the ring and swing the shinai until it makes contact. So what happens when you have a sport that is utilizing such a dangerous weapon? I don't know if anybody has ever seen a kendo sword. It's made of, the practice sword anyway, is made of bamboo, and when you hit somebody with it, the pieces of bamboo separate, and then on release of impact, it pinches. Ooh. Yeah, so we have actually one at home, and I wish I could have pulled it out for the occasion. Looks like a really, really dangerous sport, but one that's done with so much respect in the Japanese culture that first the players have to bow to one another. They have certain things that they say to one another in meeting on the floor. And a kendo match is played until one player gets 2 points, and then at that time the player with 2 points wins. But you're only allowed to hit in certain parts of the body for points. You can hit the head, the wrist, the body. You're not taught to hit the throat until you are experienced. So it's dangerous and harsh, and yet requires an enormous amount of discipline. You're taught that you are fighting against yourself, not against an opponent. And Tomoko-san said that it would be good to show kendo here. And so Yoshimi Matsuzaki actually came for that purpose, to give examples of kendo. And yeah, so she brought it to the Shirawi house. She's happy to show people what it's all about. It's an intense sport, but one that I think teaches probably far more than swinging a stick. Yeah. Teaches you some self-control and some discipline, and yeah, so I think it's a great thing that we have here, and probably going to generate some further interest. Yeah, and there is a small, I'm sorry if you said it already, but there is a small group of people that I think do this. I've heard about it. It didn't actually mention it in the... I think there is a couple young fellas that actually do this, and I'm not sure how organized they are, but this is great that there's someone there to show them the art of it, I guess. Absolutely. And the true discipline of it. So that's a neat story. Excellent. So now we're going to move on to our community calendar and see what events are coming up in Quesnel.
fantastic. And we also do have a photo of the day, courtesy of Madeline Rash. And this is a beautiful photo of a sunset in our community. Over to you.
Well, that's it for our show this time. Thank you for joining us. If you would like to give us any feedback or tips on any news you think we should cover here at Q Today, you can contact us by email at qtoday@qcatv.ca. If you would like to be a sponsor or a volunteer, you can also call Nate at 992-3650 or call the station and leave a message for John McKenzie at 992-8363. Mitch?
Thank you. And as another reminder, we are set up on Facebook now, so please check us out. And you can watch the show on qcatv.ca. But thanks to Eddie, we are on Facebook, facebook.com/QToday, and that's big Q, big T, and that's all one word. So Facebook.
That's right.
Gotta keep hammering that home.
That's right. Q Today is produced by QMag, the Quesnel Media Access Group. Thanks for watching. Remember, our purpose is to get Quesnel talking.
Bye for now.